Hi, welcome to Nina in the kitchen. Today I am making shrimp and grits. And if you don't know what that is or you've never had it, you're missing out. This is such a great dish. Grits are stone ground corn, and this is what grits look like. There's yellow and there's white. And what I look for in a good grit is that it's stone ground and has these little brown bits in here, which are pieces of the hull. I would say the yellow is sweeter and has more flavor to it. I like mixing them both. So, you know, if you like the yellow, like the white, it doesn't matter, you can mix them. Shrimp and grits is served at breakfast time, but I love this dish any time of day, brunch, lunch, dinner, what have you. So we're going to start by toasting the grits. When you toast a grain, it brings out a nutty flavor to it that is sort of nutty and sweet, and that adds to the dish. Once you start toasting grains, you might not go back, but it's a step that's optional. So I'm going to take, maybe a tablespoon or so of butter, put that in the bottom of the pan. When your butter is melted, the grits just go right in. This is on a medium heat. As soon as you see that the color is starting to change and become sort of opaque, that may be enough toast for you. So you can play around with that. The other thing that's going in here, and by the way, if you can't get grits, then polenta is a great substitute. And I do the same thing with polenta. If you read recipes for grits and polenta, you'll see that you start out with a hot liquid, and as soon as the liquid starts to boil, you slowly add the grits or polenta. I don't do that. I start in here with the grits, and then I put my liquid in on top of that. I never get a lump. It's fabulous. As soon as this is toasty, you put 4 cups of liquid in there, and the liquid can be anything. I have chicken stock, I added evaporated milk, and I finished to do the 4 cups with water. You can do this whole thing with water and milk combination, whatever you want. So this is going in. This is such a great trick to start out with your grits or polenta inside at the bottom, and then just pour liquid on top of it. You'll see these coming out nice and smooth. So here's how you cook grits. This is going to come up to a boil. I'll reduce it to a simmer, and you don't want to walk away from it for too long. You can, I mean, you don't have to hang over it, but I'm going to probably stir it every 3 to 5 minutes, and this will take about 20 minutes. So here's how we're going to start with the shrimp end of this. This is so delicious. I have half of a lemon, 1 pound of shrimp. These are 15 to 21 units per pound. And I'm just going to take a fork and just sort of run this in here like that. I don't see any seeds, but that really breaks up all of those little segments, and you'll get a lot of juice out of this now. There we go. No, there's no seeds. Great. I also just take my lemon and squeeze the walls. And if you want to take the time, there's no reason why you can't grate this zest and put that in there as well. The shrimp are peeled and deveined. This is cayenne pepper. You don't have to use cayenne. You can use paprika if you don't like heat, but I'm just going to do a little sprinkle on there. That was maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon. And then I'm just going to stir this up and put that off to the side and let those flavors marinate. This is 4 strips of thick cut bacon that I made into lardons, or little pieces. You can dice it any way you want. And to this is an andouille sausage. It can be a kielbasa. Any smoked sausage that you like will work. This is 5 ounces, 152 grams. It was just one long segment. And I would say these are going to be about equal portions if you just look at it as far as volume goes. So all that I'm going to do is cook these up, get these brown, render the fat from the bacon, and this is on a medium heat. This will take about 4 or 5 minutes, and I'll see you at the end of that. Let's see what we have then. This all comes out of the pan. Leave the fat in there if you can. and leave all of those good brown bits. So we've rendered some of the fat from the bacon, and now we're going to use that for these veggies. Here's what I have for vegetable. This is one small, I would say, bell pepper. I chose red bell, but you can use anything you want. I thought that would be pretty. That's the only reason I chose it. I'm going to cook that for just a minute. And now it's just starting to get some color on it. So in goes the onion. The other thing I have, and this is a small onion. And by small, I mean it's smaller than a tennis ball. As soon as the onions start to show some color, I'll throw the garlic in. But you can see this is just the moisture from the vegetables is pulling up the fond from the bottom. The fond are these brown bits. There's a lot of flavor in there, so you don't want to lose that. So now everything is melding together. I love this part of cooking because you know this is going to taste good. Something good is happening. The grits are being cooked with the lid off. You might notice that. And the reason for that is because you want the water or whatever it is you're using to evaporate and concentrate the flavors. That's another reason why you don't want to use a salted if you're buying your chicken broth or chicken stock, because when it concentrates down, it's going to be too much. So buy low sodium if you're using a boxed or canned stock. The vegetables just have a little hint of crisp left in it. I'm going to put the garlic in now with a little sprinkle of salt. You don't need much because we have the bacon and the sausage. So now at this point, the veggies are almost soft. So I have just a couple of minutes to cook this through. I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of flour. This is all-purpose flour. Mix that up, and we're making a roux. A roux is something that you use to thicken soups, sauces, all sorts of things. And when you do it like this with a vegetable, this roux is called a liaison. It's going to help bridge, I should say, one food into the next. This is some stock going in. And it's thickening up beautifully. So a little hit, I'm calling that 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and then everything else goes back in. The sausage and bacon, they're already cooked, and now we're going to add these lemony shrimp with cayenne, and as soon as those are cooked, everything's done. This will take about 3 minutes. Back to the grits. This is cooking. This last part goes really quick. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of butter in here, along with 1 cup of a young cheddar cheese. And by young, I mean around 6 months. Don't buy expensive stuff for this. Don't get the good aged stuff. You want this to be able to melt. So whatever you would use for like mac and cheese, that's what you want to use in here. So off heat, you're just going to melt the butter and the cheese, and that's done. As soon as your shrimp turn pink, they're done. And when they curl up like this and form a tight C, that's how you know they are ready. If you need a little bit more liquid, like I did, I just added about 2 tablespoons of water. You don't want this to be soupy, but you do want a sauce in here. And I'm trying to move the food around so that you can see how much sauce there is. You see, it's rather wet, but it's just part of this whole dish. Well, here's the dish. I just finished it with just a little bit of scallion or green onion, just right there, just to pretty it up a little bit, that's all. But here it is. Everything in this dish helps the other ingredient, the toasting of the grits and the cheese at the end. You're getting the smoky bacon, the smoky andouille sausage or kielbasa. The shrimp in here is another flavor that surprisingly you would think, shrimp isn't even going to show up in a dish like this. It is so delicious. The vegetables, everything lends to this dish. It's really, really lovely. I hope that you try this. And please like and subscribe. Thank you guys. Bye.